Over and over again, we have all seen it, and we have all felt it. We improve our language skills just enough for that conference, test, or vacation, and then, we regress back to a state of being a false beginner somewhere in the land between the grammar translation method for speaking and listening comprehension and conversing with another in a second language who has a different first language. Basically, it's back to the beginning again, and these things happen. Also, the grammar translation method can be good, especially if one wants to be a translator or is only studying a language to pass a state exam to get a government job. The reality is that being fluent in a language, which includes all 4 skills, is constant work, and there will be obstacles in your way the whole time. All people have obligations, that is, family, work, other classes, religious activities, hobbies, and so much more. To be at the top of our game, we must practice to maintain it at a minimum. There are 2 kinds of people with low confidence: those who know it, and those who don't. Both are problems in and of themselves, but the first one is the easiest to overcome mentally because the issue is about motivation. To be at the top of your game with any skill, one must practice. With that said, not all practice is equal, that is, one can practice for fun, practice to maintain a level, or practice to failure in order to achieve gains. The latter is where improvement is made and creates a new benchmark. This requires goal setting, motivation, and perseverance. If you aren't trying, you're dying. Language is a tool to communicate, and if you're not sharpening your tools, they fall into a state of disrepair. The same is true for language use, and if we aren't using it, we are losing it. If you are not studying all the time, this is a personal choice, but one must remember that your competition isn't on the sidelines as they are practicing and getting better. Language doesn't stop, so when you come back to it, you will have to catch up and evolve, too. Communication is the most important thing in our lives as we are social animals. Being able to connect with customers and colleagues can mean the difference between being a successful employee and being made redundant. What can you offer your company that Chat GPT can't? It's simple. You can spot Chat GPT's errors. AI is coming. All translation work is in question now. We, however, need to embrace the future and get AI and other software to work for us. The best thing that you can offer your customers, colleagues, and employers is you. One must be on top of their game and never settle, and in many industries, a key component to this is one's language abilities, as good communication is a necessity for meeting the needs of the environment that you work in. Our days and lives are filled with choices. Staying on top of your game as it pertains to language ability is a choice and something that needs to be done with regularity. First, it's important to set reasonable and obtainable goals. Perfectionists are exposed and humiliated as the tide goes out, as we are all human. Therefore, no one is perfect. Maintaining a positive mental attitude and periodization of how and what you study are essential. One needs to constantly reflect on why they are engaging in a study of a language and keep the goal of doing so in perspective. Language is cultural, but communication is communication. We must respect other people's cultures, but to use language as a tool, one doesn't need to overly engage in cultural activities and local customs. Language is nothing more than a tool for communication, and in relation to business communication, it's not necessary to be able to converse about topics that are inappropriate for business meetings. This doesn't include small talk, but engage in more active listening and respect the fact that you will probably disagree with the logic behind some of the customs. This is okay. Nonetheless, be respectful, and move the conversation along. It is important to realize that language learning is a choice. If you don't want to learn a language, then don't do it. If you do, jump with 2 feet in, and do it correctly. There's nothing worse than seeing a group of people that have studied a language for decades and can't use it, that is, they are essentially illiterate in the language as they have wasted so many years of their lives. Many of these people have been stuck in classrooms that are government-funded, overcrowded, and taught with grammar translation instruction. We are human, and we are subject to pride and bias. One is always going to think their native language is more logical than other languages, as this was their first way to communicate with the world. To fully master a language, we must overcome these barriers and be realistic about a second language. If you see it as a tool, this will help. If you are studying it for fun or because you are forced to, you are probably wasting your time as your motivation is flawed, and you will subconsciously reject the experience. First and foremost, we recommend making sure that you are studying a language for the right reasons. One needs to figure out their dominant learning styles and customize their study to take advantage of this. A short learning style quiz is available through the links below this video's description. Then, one needs to put forth the effort to improve and master what they are studying, and one needs to constantly challenge themselves and keep their motivation in check through periodization. If you are studying a language and hope to improve, you need to study all 4 skills simultaneously, that is, speaking, reading, writing, and listening. One needs to make the time to study and do everything they can to maintain their level and constantly improve, and one needs to recognize that they are human and let themselves make mistakes in conjunction with not making excuses about their situation. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. We hope that this information will help you overcome some of the mental and environmental obstacles that are placed in your way as a language student. Please follow the links below this video's description for more information on the topic, and please feel free to check out some of the other videos on our channel. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we wish you the best of luck in your studies.